The different densities of consciousness can be thought of as the intelligence to interpret and interact with different density spectrums of the electromagnetic spectrum. What does this mean? Well, they're organized into different layers, 1 through 8, or sometimes 12. And these different layers represent the amount of frequency bandwidth the consciousness is able to interpret at any given moment. For instance, a first density consciousness is just a planet or a form of energy starting to organize and understand itself and understand how this part is counter to this part of itself. With a second density creature, you have an animal or a plant life who only recognize members of their own species or tribe. Think of a pack animal like a wolf who is only friendly to wolves within their own pack. Even wolves that are neighbors, they don't see them that way. They see them as an enemy to be vanquished. Third density is where humanity's been for most of the last 15,000 years. We recognize that we are all separate. However, we don't recognize that we're all really the same creature. And we look at each other as both a resource to be used as cooperation and also an enemy to be vanquished. This mischaracterization of each other is the problem with third density and what we're all trying to learn how to grow out of, which brings us to fourth density, which is that we ultimately recognize that we are all actually just different shells containing the same blueprint that is a human being. And we begin to also understand that this shared blueprint also exists in a slightly different flavor across all of nature. When you hear the word fractal, what you often hear is that the entire universe is a fractal. But what fractal really means is that a universe in its totality still has the same fundamental properties as even the smallest particle. This is because they all share the fundamental feature of cycling energy through their center and out to the perimeter and then back into the center again, or a torsion field. The next density is fifth density. This one I think has a lot of confusion around it, as people seem to think that just because it's a higher number, it's a better place to be. But really, we're always in fifth density, and we're always in fourth density. However, it's the human consciousness that can't comprehend the nature of these densities at this moment. While many of us are starting to begin to work within the fourth density and trying to understand what that really means for humanity going forward, fifth density is more like what we call heaven or the afterlife. But it has more to do with our reality than just that, as it's also where our ideas and dreams come from. It's also where our premonition of the future comes from, as the fifth density is the energy that is moving towards us, or the quantum field that is coalescing right before it meets us in the present moment. I could go on this one for a long time, but let's just move on to sixth density. Sixth density is the culmination of fourth and fifth, and what ends up happening with these two densities is that you end up having another structure outside of these two that forms from them. So you end up with geometries that shape the flow of time and the flow of energy. These geometric patterns can be seen in things called the Platonic solids or sacred geometries like the star tetrahedron, also known as the Merkaba. Sixth density is a very important density that is very shrouded in mystery. These beings are less physical than those in fourth density, and those in fifth density are just basically balls of light if they are in our reality at all. Now, seventh density is where things become even more confusing, because what you really have in seventh density is a information culmination of the previous six densities. So you have the potential for beings that are all-knowing but still separate from the universe itself, or the Godhead. These beings are consciousnesses that really are inside and outside of our existence. And seventh density also could probably be thought of as a big white field of light, where it's not even different energies per se, but different movements of the greater energy, which has its own intelligence. And the eighth density itself would be the Godhead, or the ultimate being, the one who dreams this reality. It would be the place that all consciousnesses end up going at the end of their incarnation cycle. Once you hit here, you can, you know everything. You've returned back to the source, and you can begin again if you wish. And this cycle through consciousness is the path that every individual conscious agent takes through their soul's development. And we do this with the aid of our higher selves, which are us, sitting at seventh density, waiting for all of the incarnations to complete, offering a helping hand, so to speak, for all of the incarnations until they're complete and everything has been experienced that this higher self has wanted to experience. And in that way, we're never actually alone, as our higher self is right there at all times, inside of us and outside of us, offering us guidance and words of wisdom as mental clarity in times when we need it. My name's Adam David. My name's Adam David, and thank you for watching.